You don't attract what you want. You attract what you obey. There is no such thing as a money problem. There is only a law problem. And the first of these divine laws is obedience. Not to man, not to fear, but to God's order. Most people live reactive lives, chasing money like a desperate child begging for bread. But money, you see, does not respond to desperation. It responds to divine alignment. God is a God of order, not confusion. And everything He has created, from the stars in the sky to the money in your hands, obeys a structure, a law, a discipline. When your life is out of order, your mind scattered, your intentions unclear, your speech undisciplined, you're no longer in position to receive. You're not rejected, you're simply out of range. Your thoughts must be trained. Your words must be aligned. Your actions must follow through. Because money follows the obedient, not the chaotic. You may say, but Florence, I pray for money every night. And I ask, do you obey the wisdom you already know? Do you act when God prompts you? Do you hold back generosity when fear tightens your chest? That's disobedience, and disobedience blocks the blessing. The wealthy are not always smarter. They are not always kinder. But they often have one trait in common. They move with decisiveness. They act on instruction. They stay on course even when fear whispers. Obedience is not weakness. It is spiritual power in motion. When you bring your thoughts, speech, and actions under divine authority, you become magnetic to provision. Doors open, help arrives, and money, the obedient servant it is, finds its way into your life. Not because you chased it, but because you stood in the place God told you to stand. The world will believe what you say when you say it like you believe it. There is no force more underestimated than the spoken word. God created the world through speech. Be, and it was. And yet most people speak carelessly, as if their words are casual things, but they are not. Your mouth is a gate of power. It either invites wealth, or it warns it to stay away. I've known people who prayed for provision, but spoke like paupers. I can't afford that. I'll never get ahead. People like me weren't meant to be rich. They were faithful in asking, but faithless in speaking. And so their words closed the gate. Let me tell you plainly, your money listens to your tone. Your future obeys your language. And your life, right now, is reflecting every careless thing you've said about yourself since the day you first felt fear. So speak differently now. Speak as one who knows God is the source. Speak as one appointed to prosper, not for pride, but for purpose. Speak like a commander, not a beggar. Say, divine wealth flows to me because I obey God's laws. Say it again, divine wealth flows to me because I obey God's laws. These are not empty affirmations. These are declarations of obedience. You are not manipulating reality. You are aligning with divine truth. Every word is a seed. Speak lack, and you plant poverty. Speak doubt, and you fertilize delay. But speak faith, speak provision, and you plant a harvest too large for your own hands. Money is not emotional. It doesn't respond to want. It responds to word and will under God's command. So guard your lips like a treasury vault. Say only what you want multiplied, and let no idle speech betray your future. For the one who speaks in faith builds their fortune in silence first, then sees it shouted aloud in the fruit of their life. You don't get what you hope for. You get what you're prepared to receive. Expectation is not wishing. It is preparation soaked in faith. It is action that proves belief. Many pray for provision while preparing for poverty. They say, I trust God, yet they walk around rehearsing failure, dressing in fear, and organizing their lives around the worst-case scenario. That is not faith. That is fear with lipstick on. You cannot expect God's abundance while secretly preparing for the famine. The two cancel each other out. You want money? Show me your faith. Have you cleared the space for the blessing? Have you acted like the opportunity is already on its way? Have you thanked God before the bank account changed? Because those who expect, act. They don't just wait, they prepare. You must build the storehouse before the rain comes. Now listen closely. Expectation is one of the subtlest forms of power. When your body, your thoughts, your plans, and your habits mirror what you desire, you activate the law of attraction under God's authority. You are showing the unseen realm that you are ready. A person who expects will dress like it, speak like it, invest like it, speak with clarity, wake up with purpose, and treat every moment as if the promise is already en route. Even in Scripture, those who received miracles were those who prepared the way. They didn't ask once and sit back. They prepared their minds, their spaces, their hearts. So I ask you, what are you preparing for right now? Because your preparation reveals your prophecy. If you prepare for lack, don't be surprised when it arrives. But if you prepare for overflow, your harvest cannot be denied. Get your house in order. Expect, prepare, obey, and watch how money, opportunity, and divine connections flow into the spaces you created in faith, not fear. Money is not a master, and the moment you treat it like one, it runs. One of the greatest spiritual errors is this: becoming attached to what was never meant to control you. Money is a tool, nothing more. It is a servant, not a source. The moment it becomes your obsession, your identity, or your God, it starts to slip through your fingers like sand. God does not bless obsession. He blesses obedience. You were not made to chase money. You were made to walk in purpose and allow money to find you as you move in obedience. Many people unknowingly block their own provision by gripping too tightly to the idea of wealth. They become anxious, controlling, panicked. Every decision becomes a calculation. Every relationship becomes a transaction. That's not prosperity, that's slavery. True prosperity begins when your heart is free. Let me ask you, if you had nothing, no status, no savings, no applause, would you still believe in your calling? Would you still walk with dignity, knowing God is your provider? Because the man who trusts in wealth will fall with it. But the one who trusts in God is anchored, unshaken, even in drought. And ironically, that's the man wealth runs to. Why? Because God can trust him to handle it. Wealth will not come to those who worship it. It will come to those who treat it as a responsibility, a tool to serve, to build, to uplift others in God's name. When you let go of obsession, you grab hold of purpose. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. And when your joy is no longer tied to the numbers in your account, you become someone money can serve, but never control. So release it. Let go of fear. Loosen the grip. And let God be the source, the guide, the anchor. Then and only then will wealth come running, trained by obedience and tethered to purpose. What you give does not leave you. It travels ahead of you and waits to meet you multiplied. God's economy is not like the world's. The world says, hold, protect, keep. But divine law says, give, release, plant. This is the law of compensation. Every action, every word, every choice, you're planting. Whether you know it or not, you are sowing into your future. And the seed you sow is never lost. It is stored, nurtured, and returned multiplied. You cannot trick this law. You cannot fake generosity, then act in secret greed. The law sees the intention, not just the action. If you sow bitterness, it returns in broken relationships. If you sow honesty, it returns in favor. If you sow generosity, it returns in increase. Many ask, Florence, I've given so much, why haven't I received? And I answer, have you given with a cheerful heart? Have you released your gift without fear or strings? Have you planted in faith or in the quiet panic of doubt? Because the seed that grows is the one watered by trust in God, not fear of lack, Now hear me clearly. Giving does not always mean money. It may be time, attention, encouragement, a skill used to serve. And yes, sometimes it is financial, but always from a willing, peaceful heart. The man who gives with joy is declaring, "I do not fear lack, because my source is divine." He is proving to God that he is ready for more, and so more comes. Remember this: you do not lose when you give under divine guidance. You invest, you plant, you position yourself for increase. God is never indebted to the one who gives in faith. Your compensation is coming. Maybe not from the direction you expect, but it is on its way. Because the harvest is promised to the one who sows in trust. You can't live like a servant and expect the rewards of a steward. There comes a time when you must ask, does my self-image match the mission God has given me? Because here's the truth. You can pray for wealth, speak power, and give generously. But if deep down, you still see yourself as unworthy, broken, or cursed, you will reject the very blessings you've asked for. God doesn't just bless what you do. He blesses who you believe you are. That's the final divine law, alignment. Your thoughts, your identity, your vision, they must align with God's truth about you. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not meant to hide in fear. You are called, chosen, entrusted with a divine mission. And for that mission, God provides the tools, including money. But here's the condition. You must see yourself as the one worthy to carry it. Not because of pride, not because of ego, but because of obedience to how God sees you. I've seen so many sabotage their own success, not because they lacked skill, but because they lacked alignment. Their outer life moved forward, but their inner world stayed stuck in shame, in doubt, in small thinking. You cannot walk into a palace with the posture of a prisoner. It's time to rise, to think like the man God called you to be, to speak like one entrusted with divine resources, to act like a steward, not a slave, and above all, to believe you are allowed to prosper because your heart is submitted to God. Repeat this once more with me. Divine wealth flows to me because I obey God's laws. Divine wealth flows to me because I obey God's laws. Let these words be more than a phrase. Let them be your realignment. Your identity is the soil. Your mission is the seed. And now, by faith, by action, by divine law, your harvest is ready to grow. Go. Step into the life that was always waiting for your alignment.